Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome to Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. You lucky people, we got a jam-packed show today because Empire have leaked out, or someone's leaked out, Empire Spread for Wonder Woman 1984. They did a little bit of Birds of Prey in the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. But today, we are featuring Wonder Woman 1984 because they've got quite a bit to say about that film, and it's really exciting. Now, I have seen the test screening, but I can't talk about it. But they're talking about it, and there's also, a little bit later on, there's a description from IGN from a couple of scenes they were previewed as well. Very, very exciting. So I'll read that out to you. I can read that out to you. I just can't tell you my personal experience of the test screening. Understood? And we have got more. There's another article to read about an appointment at Warner Brothers, and we will be talking about that a little bit later on. But first, let's talk about Wonder Woman 1984. There's lots of reading to do. You know how crap I am at that. But hey, it's got to be done. We're going to be patient with each other, right? Yeah, let's do this. Expect darkness and neon in director Patty Jenkins' super sequel, right? Let's zoom in a bit so we can actually read it. The hyper-coloured neon-soaked posters for Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 1984 made a bold statement in more ways than just the visual. They're a declaration that this is a new era for Gal Gadot's Diana. Unlike Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, she's out in daylight, openly fighting for justice. Unlike her first stand-alone film, she's a fully formed woman at home in a man's world. And unlike Justice League, she shouldn't be hamstrung by a vastly rewritten plot. But while the signs point to a more colourful, confident outing, don't expect this Wonder Woman film to be all sweetness and light. Barring flashbacks, Diana's home of Themyscira remains presumably close to her, 66 years since the end of World War I. Her old comrades are dead, and her Justice League fellows are still children. This Diana faces the world entirely isolated and alone. Except, of course, for the biggest mystery of this film. Chris Pine is apparently back as Steve Trevor in a shell suit. It's what's it say? I can't even see it. Is he a figment of her imagination, a clone, or improbably a similar-looking grandnephew? Have the gods taken a hand in Diana's life and resurrected him? If the Batman v Superman canon counts anymore, and that is a big if, it's not a big if, it does count, then this film will end with the pair parted once more. But maybe there is some path to happiness for them. If Steve Rogers got back to Peggy Carter, who's going to stop Diana Prince? Well, possibly Christine Wiig's Barbara Ann Minera. In the comics, she's an archaeologist who gained powers from an African cat goddess and became the supervillain Cheetah. Here, all we know is that she seems to be working alongside Diana at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., before she presumably gets murdery, and there might be a secondary problem. We know that Pedro Pascal has a role in this film as a businessman type in a flashy suit. Internet speculation has it that he could be comics Maxwell Lord, a villain. Yes, he's definitely playing Maxwell Lord, that much I can tell you actually. Eventually killed outright by Diana in a desperate effort to finally stop his scheming. If Pascal is Lord, there's a real chance he might drive Diana to cold-blooded murder. My lips are sealed. It's a lot to face, even for a heroine, determinedly optimistic as Diana, for all the bright colours surrounding her and for the lightness of her Wonder Woman 1984, the darkest challenge is yet to come. Now, this is from Helen O'Hara, who is a very SJW kind of person, critic, blogger, whatever you want to call her. I think she's kind of being kind of good with this article. I like this article, but that's not all we've got from Wonder Woman 1984. And it's funny that she was saying it's a big if. if this is all canon, like Batman v Superman and Justice League. Look, the DCEU is still all connected. I can tell you that much. So let's carry on. Right, basically, IGN and I think a few other people were allowed to see a couple of scenes from Wonder Woman 1984, and this is their description. Much of the footage appears to be set in Washington, D.C. We see a shot of Diana and Steve Trevor walking in front of the Washington Monument. Diana is wearing a white Greek goddess-inspired dress and reaches out to caress Steve's cheek. Her voice-over narration mourns, "I can almost see it, like a beautiful dream." That narration would seem to suggest this is a dream sequence of some sort, though the footage itself looks real enough. A second scene lends more credence to the idea that Steve Trevor is alive and well and not just a figment of Diana's imagination. We see Wonder Woman battling enemies inside the White House while wearing her new armor. She protects Steve from gunfire, grabs a gun and unloads it in slow motion, pulls foes closer with her lasso. Another cryptic shot shows her whipping her lasso around to possibly deflect or redirect a bolt of lightning. Could she be fighting Zeus? Very, very, very interesting. Again, my lips are sealed, but I'm just excited to be reading this stuff out to you. It means the big press push for Wonder Woman 1984 is upon us, and that means I can talk more about this film that is going to gauge opinion. It's a DC film, so you wouldn't expect anything else, but you are going to have a lot of fun with this film. And I don't mean MCU fun, I mean proper fun. This is a proper movie. This is a great movie, and I just can't wait till I can review it, talk about it more openly. But all this stuff we are reading is very, very exciting. And I think what's great, I mean, reading you those things from IGN, reading you Helen O'Hara's article, you can now go away and think to yourselves, what's going on here? Is it Steve Trevor? Is it an ancestor? Is it a clone? You'll have to wait and see, won't you? But you can go away and have your own little theories, which is really, really exciting. What do you think's going on there as well? Please comment down below. But yes, next year is a big year for the DCEU. Wonder Woman 1984, of course, and Harley Quinn, and the Birds of Prey, of course. So yes, it's all going to be kicking off next year. All very exciting. And don't forget, the trailer for Wonder Woman 1984 will be on a special Twitter event coming live from Brazil. And so you'll be able to live stream the whole thing. Now, I can't do live videos, but I might do a video where I'm watching the live stream and kind of talking to you and reacting to it. I might try and do that, depending what the time difference is from here in Cyprus to Brazil. And I assume it's quite considerable. But we will try and do that. So, yes, get excited for Wonder Woman 1984, because I certainly am. But really, this is the meat of the sandwich that I want to talk about on today's video. Toby Emmerich extends contract at Warner Brothers chairman Caroline Blackwood named COO, whatever that means. I've heard of a CEO, but I don't know what COO means. Anyway, Toby Emmerich is a bit of a nemesis to Zack Snyder fans of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. A lot of Snyder fans hold him responsible, along with Jeff Johns, for what happened with Justice League and the reason Zack Snyder was sacked. I don't agree with this personally. I think it's a bit too simplistic. Basically, I think what happens, a lot of fans blame him because he was simply there. This kind of looks like he's been moved around to a position where he can't do any damage. So what we're going to try and do is read through the lines here and see what's going on. So let's see, as I say, let's see what's going on. Toby Emmerich has extended his contract as chairman of Warner Brothers Pictures Group and elevated top lieutenant Caroline Blackwood to the newly created position of Chief Operating Officer. So Caroline is Chief Operating Officer. This pretty much means to me that she's going to be head of the day-to-day running. Pretty much it looks to me that Ann Sarnoff says, look mate, you can keep your position, but it's only in name only. You're going to have to appoint a COO to actually do your job, because we don't want you here, but you've got too much influence at the studio. We can't sack you. Fair enough, but this is what I'm going to do to you. So basically, it's Caroline Blackwood who's got his job. It's Caroline Blackwood who's pretty much running this avenue of the company. And what's happened is he's the head honcho in name only. Anne Sarnoff has been very clever here, and she's disabled him because that's the only thing she could do. He's got too much power there. He knows too many people, and they couldn't sack him. Otherwise, she would have done. This is very interesting and very telling. This is as telling as Diane Nelson being moved out the company and being told she was leaving to spend more time with her family, which was absolutely ballsack balls. Ballsack balls, is that a word? But you know what I mean. It's nonsense, it's spin. Always read between the lines. The move follows the box office success of Joker, the gritty comic book adaptation that became the highest grossing R-rated movie in history, with an $875 million haul. Made for $62 million, it will also be one of the most profitable superhero movies of all time. In her new role, Blackwood will be responsible for the day-to-day operations of the picture group. Basically, that's Toby Emerich's job she's doing, which is great, by the way, of the picture group, including physical production, business affairs, and music. She will also continue to oversee New Line Cinema, where she and Emerich forged their long-term business alliance, and Warner Brothers Theatre Ventures, the company's stage division. Basically, she's been running New Line Cinema. Well, you know the respect I've got for New Line Cinema, so she's a great added, addition to the proper Warner Brothers, if you like. We know that New Line Cinema is a subsidiary. It's a company of Warner Brothers, but they operate independently. She's doing a great job with them. So she's going to be doing both jobs, but basically Emerich is just going to be there fielding calls, from what I can see. Emerich has been at the helm of the Pictures Group since 2017. Guiding it during a tumultuous time, his tenure coincided with parent company Time Warner's sale to AT&T, a period that saw the movie studio in a bit of a holding pattern as it waited for its new corporate chieftains to assume regularity, approval that was followed by more upheaval after Warner Bros. CEO Kevin Tsujihara was forced out in 2019, and in the wake of a sex scandal, he was replaced by Anne Sarnoff. Despite these headwinds, Emerich helped guide Warner Bros. Its most successful box office year in 2018, one in which the studio fielded hits such as Crazy Rich Asians, A Star Is Born, and Aquaman. This year has been more problematic, with the studio shouldering bombs such as Goldfinch, The Kitchen, and Blinded by Light. It did score hits, however, with the likes of Shazam and It Chapter 2. Emerich is known for his cerebral manner, as well as his sterling taste in material and strong relationship with key creative talent, such as James Wan, Clint Eastwood, and John N. Chu. Really, they're not his relationships. James Wan, really? You're giving him credit for James Wan? Wow. Blackwood is a 20-year veteran of New Line and Warner Bros., playing a key role in the Conjuring and Lord of the Rings franchises. She is respected for her business savvy and is popular on the lot, offers strategic abilities and her sense of humour. Blackwood will continue to report directly to Emerich. Yeah, basically, she's the boss now. She's officially the boss. She will not be reporting to Emerich. This is just a face-saving exercise. They know what they're doing. They've pretty much taken the power away from Toby Emmerich. This is good for us, the fans. It's good if you blame him for what happened to Justice League. I don't know. I don't know what he's responsible for, good or bad. All I know is what I hear around the circuit. Toby is a distinguished entertainment executive whose track record speaks for itself. This is so funny, said Sarnoff in a statement. Since my arrival at Warner Bros., he has been an extraordinary partner. I am thrilled to have him by my side as we take Warner Bros. And Warner Media forward. When you look at the terrific performance of New Line over the years, it's obvious that Caroline's formidable leadership, now this is the truth, skills have played an integral part in its success. Of course they have. I'm excited for her to take on this larger Pictures Group role, which is Emmerich's role. This is just brilliant. And I mean, she's pretty much saying it with a wink and a nod already. Emerich was effusive in his praise for Blackwood. I have been very fortunate to have someone of Caroline's caliber riding shotgun with me these past 15 years. Yeah, but you never imagine she'll take your job though, mate. She is an exceptional executive with great instincts and unique skills set that will serve the company well moving forward. I couldn't be happier to have her take on these additional responsibilities. He means he couldn't be happier her taking on his job because he's got no choice. But he's a wealthy man. He's been in a powerful position at New Line and at Warner Brothers. You know, he's done well for himself. The truth is, he don't care. He's made an absolute balls up during the tenure with the Zack Snyder stuff. And what happened. He also has been in charge with some great stuff as well. He was very pivotal to what was going on at New Line Cinema. But what happens with this other woman who's literally taking his job here? This is what happens. You know, you've got this number two. It's a bit like Star Trek, right? Imagine it's Picard and Ricard. All those years Picard was captain. Picard can't imagine it. And one day he walks into the bridge and is it right? It's Riker, yeah. Riker is sitting in the captain's chair. And he's thinking, what the hell? But I'm the captain. Not anymore. This is exactly what's happened here. Blackwood has got Toby Emmerich's job. And if you are of the school of thought where you blame Toby Emmerich for what happened with Justice League and Zack Snyder, and even Batman v Superman, where they cut that film to pieces and then they released an extended version, right? And we saw what they also did with Suicide Squad. If you blame him for all that, he has been disabled by Ann Sarnoff. She and the company have said, listen, you keep your job. You keep the job officially. But basically, you're going to be there counting, sharpening pencils. It's a Lionel Luthor term from the Smallville, actually. That's what he's going to be doing, sharpening pencils. He hasn't got his position anymore. And sooner rather than later, there'll be a little byline saying he's decided to move away from Warner Brothers for other jobs or to be with his family a lot more. And this is what's going to happen. So Emmerich is finished. Emmerich is gone. Yes, he's extended his contract because they're going to pay him off. And even if he remains, he will not be responsible for any decision making. This is good. And Sarnoff has been very, very coy here. So we see what happens next after this major decision. Now Blackwood has got Emmerich's job. Is this a good sign for the release of the Snyder Cut? Comments down below, please. Things are changing all the time at Warner Brothers. I think what I saw with the unveiling of HBO Max, I was very, very impressed with what they're doing. There's a variety of content. As I say, when it comes to Europe, I'm getting it. People will say, oh, no, you shouldn't support them unless they put the Snyder Cut on there. Listen, I'm a fan of a great many things, great many films and TV shows. That is a great piece of streaming hardware. And I've got to have it. I'm sorry about that. I want to review more movies, more TV shows. I want to be there. I want to know everything. I do know everything, but I want to know a lot more than everything. And unfortunately, it's going to cost me money, but I need to have every streaming service. I probably won't get Apple. I think Apple's a load of crap. But there you go. They're going to be the losers in this streaming war. Check out my streaming war video on my homepage, which I did last night as well. So some very exciting stuff going on. I hope you enjoyed today's program, today's video. I hope you're excited about Wonder Woman 1984 and what's to come with that film. They've got the old band to get back together. Zach's produced it. Deb's produced it. Some of you won't be happy about this, but Jeff Johns wrote the story and screenplay with Patty Jenkins. But let's all remember why we all know who Jeff Johns is. Because he's a great storyteller and a great writer. And he admitted himself that's his strengths, not running a film franchise. So I can't wait for you to see this film, to see what it's all about. I think you are going to agree with me that it's a very special film because ultimately the first Wonder Woman is one of the best CBMs ever made. And I tell you what, I was very surprised. But Wonder Woman 1984 topped the first one. I'll see you tomorrow. I may do some more videos about different things later on. So I may see you later.